Hi everyone, Frank Demora here again with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. If you just discovered my YouTube channel, I'm asking you to be my guest at the prophecyman.com website, where you'll find more than just the YouTube videos, but other articles that I'm putting up that relate to Bible prophecy and current events. And if you'd like to download my book today for free, just go to my site and click this link, and you'd have access to this book today for free with no strings attached. Now what I'm going to be doing is going into my book, and I'm going to show you in part of my book, I give you some information about the prophecy of the last days about the Jewish temple that will be rebuilt again. And you see here in my book the different prophecies talking about this temple, this third temple that will be rebuilt. Now in the Old Testament, we see the prophet Daniel warn about it, and he says this, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week." Now he that he's referring to is the Antichrist. So the Antichrist will be confirming a covenant. Now 1 week is actually 7 years, and that's a complete different study, but just for the purpose of this video, know this, that the Antichrist, when he comes, he'll confirm a covenant with Israel and many nations for a period of 1 week or 7 years, and this is the length of the tribulation. And in the midst of the week, or in the midst of the 7 years, or exactly 1,260 days, what is the Antichrist going to do? Well, we're told he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. In other words, right in the dead center of the tribulation, Antichrist goes into the temple that will be rebuilt in Jerusalem, and he'll stop the sacrifices. And at that point, he will tell everybody that he's God. And that's when he will force everyone to take his mark, which will be placed in the right hand or in the forehead, as it says in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17. It says, "Even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate." Then Jesus in the book of Matthew also tells us, referring to Daniel. All right, so again, he's talking about the temple. Now look at this. It says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place." The holy place is what? It's the third temple that will be rebuilt. "Whosoever readeth, let him understand." So God has given us clarity about the last days, what we should be looking for. And then Paul the Apostle, Jesus Christ tells Paul the Apostle the following, "Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Okay, so through all of these verses here, we know for a fact one of the things that you should be definitely looking for in the last days is Israel will build their temple again. Please understand this. Now I'm giving this information to anyone who doesn't believe in the word of Jesus Christ and doesn't believe in his prophecies, and they haven't received him as his Savior yet. Because when you see about what's about to take place, this information might just be able to drive you to receiving Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and keeping you from the pits of hell. So let's go to an article now that just came out. Today is December the 14th, 2011. Now get this. The Muslims in uproar over the Temple Mount Bridge for non-Muslims. All right. It says the Muslim world this week clearly demonstrated the extremist nature in the conflict with Israel by working itself into a frenzy over an Israeli decision to either repair or replace the bridge to Jerusalem's Temple Mount that wasn't even used by Muslims. Now, where's the Temple Mount? Well, the Temple Mount is in East Jerusalem, and it is at an area where the Muslims are continually trying to keep Christians and Jews away from. And this is the area that this third temple is going to be rebuilt. It's not there yet, but it will be rebuilt in the future. It says, while Muslims have several other Temple Mount entrances at their disposal, the Rambam Bridge, also known as the Mugharabi Bridge, adjacent to the Western Wall Plaza, was the only entrance to the holy site for Jews and tourists. The stone bridge, built centuries ago, allowed or had access to the Temple Mount until 2004 snowstorm caused its collapse. Israel replaced the stone bridge with the wooden structure that Jerusalem engineers recently condemned as unsafe. Now, why am I giving you all this? Because in this article, you'll read that the Muslims are playing up to this, and they're calling this a constitute of war. It's a war crime, they're saying, by messing around with what they believe to be one of their holiest sites. It's actually the third holiest site to the Muslims on the Temple Mount, where the Dome of the Rock is. It says, taking their clue from Abdullah, and they're talking about the king of Jordan, Muslims across the region accused Israel of waging a holy war against Islam. Now, one of the reasons why I'm quoting this section from the article is this. We know for a fact that Psalm 83 hasn't been fulfilled yet. Psalm 83 tells us that the nations bordering Israel will attack Israel in the last days. King Abdullah of Jordan is the head of Jordan, obviously, and it just so happens that Jordan is named as one of the nations who will be attacking Israel in the last days. So, is there a possibility that in the near future, these people, the extremist Muslims, will start some kind of war with Israel over this holy site, or the entrance to the holy site of the Temple Mount? I think that there is a possibility, and this is why I'm mentioning it. And it goes on to say that the Palestinian Center for Human Rights asserted that Israel's plans for a bridge constitute a war crime according to the international humanitarian law. Fixing an old bridge or replacing it with a safer bridge is now a war crime, if Israel's antagonists are to be believed. So with this information, just understand this. The Muslims are definitely trying to stop anybody from going into the Temple Mount. Is it going to be successful? We know for sure that it won't be. How do we know this for sure? Because in the scriptures we see that the temple, the third temple, will in fact be rebuilt. We know this because Antichrist will go into this temple, and in order for him to go into a temple, it has to be rebuilt. So will Israel actually soon control the Temple Mount? You better believe it. Now, the only time that this could happen would be if Israel's enemies, and that would be the nations that border Israel, were defeated. And when would that come? Well, obviously, it could come during the Psalm 83 war. So all of these events are tied in together, but we do know that soon the Temple Mount will be given over to the Jewish people. And this is what you need to be looking for, because when that happens, you'll know that Antichrist is coming soon. The temple will be rebuilt, and exactly in the middle of that 7-year tribulation, Antichrist will go in there and he will proclaim that he is God. So these are the events that you should be looking for if you are not a Christian. Now, if you are a Christian, you should already know this. And you should already understand that the Muslims will not control this Temple Mount area for much longer.